today's topic will be discussing about the tooth, after that lip and tongue. Okay, so these are the topics associated with the oral cavity. Last week I hope you have observed that we have discussed about the salivary glands. Okay, so salivary glands, I have shown you the major and minor salivary glands, okay, in detail about the structure of salivary glands. Today first we will be discussing about the microscopic structure, actually not microscopic structure, the structure of the tooth, followed by lip and tongue. Now among these three topics, tongue is very important. Okay, so we will be giving more focus on tongue. Okay, because these topics are not that important. I have not seen questions coming directly from these particular topics. Okay, but though it is there in the syllabus, so we have to study. Now about the teeth, so few basic things you have to know about the teeth. I know already you have studied. So first of all, it is a mineralized bone-like tissue. Okay, the teeth is mineralized bone-like tissue. Okay, now where they are situated, they are projecting from the alveolar processes of the jaw. When you open your mouth, okay, you can see the teeth. These teeth are present, or you can say it is attached to both the jaws, upper jaw and lower jaw. Lower jaw is made up of mandible, upper jaw is made up of maxilla. Okay, so these are mineralized bone-like structures. Now where they are present in both the jaws, upper jaw and lower jaw. Okay, now lower jaw is made up of mandible, upper jaw is made up of maxilla. Next, in the upper jaw and lower jaw, you will see that both in the maxilla and as well as in mandible, alveolar processes are there. Okay, in the alveolar processes, sockets are present, and in those sockets, the tooth are attached. Okay, now this particular teeth which are present in both the jaws, they are forming the masticatory apparatus. Masticatory apparatus means the apparatus which helps in chewing. Okay, so that is forming the masticatory apparatus, and these are fixed in both the jaw, upper jaw also and in lower jaw also. Okay, now in case of human being, the teeth are replaced only once. Okay, that means after birth. Okay, only once the teeth will be replaced in case of human being, but in case of other animals, lower vertebrates, it keep on changing. So just after birth, the teeth which you can see, these are called as milk teeth or deciduous teeth. Okay, and those when it will fall off and when another teeth come, those are called as permanent teeth. Okay, so the deciduous teeth 20 in number and permanent teeth 32 in number. Like this we can identify, or you can say like this, we can assume the age of a person by counting the teeth. I hope you know that. Okay, so the deciduous teeth 20 in number, each half of the jaw there are 2 incisor, 1 canine and 2 molar. Okay, so total 5 teeth. Okay, so both the side 5, 5, 10 in upper jaw, 10 in lower jaw, so total 20. Now the permanent teeth are 32 in number. It consists of 2 incisor, 1 canine, 2 premolar and 3 molars. Okay, so total it is becoming 8. Okay, so total 32. Now here you can see the image. This you don't have to draw, this is for your understanding. So here you can see this is the alveolar process. Okay, this is the alveolar process. Now alveolar processes are present in both mandible also and maxilla also. Okay, in the alveolar processes you can see these are the sockets. These are the sockets. In that socket the tooth is attached. How it is attached we will see, we will discuss. Okay, this is how tooth are attached, or you can say teeth are attached in the sockets of the alveolar process of both maxilla and mandible. Okay, now here you can see the name of the tooth: molars, premolar, canine and incisor. Next, the part of the tooth. Okay, that means you can say the structure of the tooth. Now whenever you open your mouth, the part of the tooth which you can see whenever you are brushing, that part is called as crown. Okay, when you open your mouth, whatever you see, ये जो दिखाई देता है, this is called the crown. ठीक है. Next, a small portion is that is called the neck, and another portion is that there it is called the attached part or the root. Okay, तो जो alveolar process में जो sockets रहता है, in that socket the tooth is attached. So the attached part you can't see. Attached part is inside the socket. Okay, and in between the root and the crown a small junction is there, that is called the neck of the tooth. Next, if you see the structure of the tooth, these are the following parts which are present in the tooth. Okay, first we are having the enamel, then dentine, cementum and pulp. Now what is enamel? Enamel, as you know, it is the hardest material of our body. Okay, enamel is the hardest material of our body, and the area of the tooth which you can see, ये जो दिखाई देता है, the crown, it is covered by this enamel. Okay. Now in the enamel, why it is hard? Because hydroxyapatite prismatic rod are present. Along with that, some contour lines are there, also called as lines of Ridsius. I will show you about all those things. And here the enamel is derived, or it is laid down by a special type of cells, and these are called as amyloblasts. Okay, these are called as amyloblasts. Next is the dentine. Now dentine is, the structure of the dentine is similar to bone, and they derived from a specialized cells, and these are called as odontoblast. Inside the dentine tubules are present, these are called as dentineal tubules. Okay, different areas are there in the dentine: predentine, circumpulpal dentine, mental dentine, etc. Next is the cementum. Now the cementum is the area which covers the dentine in the root of the tooth. So the attached part of the tooth, okay, where it will be attaching to the alveolar socket, that particular part is covered by this cementum. Okay, and it is derived from cementoblast. It is avascular, and in that we are having Sharp's fiber. If you remember Sharp's fiber, we have discussed this during the time of bone. Okay, and inside, or you can say in the central part of the tooth, a cavity is there, that is called the pulp cavity. ठीक है, तो pulp cavity is connected with the apical foramen. Through the apical foramen, blood vessels are entering the tooth. Okay, and inside the pulp cavity, those blood vessels, nerves, okay, those are present inside the pulp cavity. Now here is the diagram. Okay, in this diagram you can see all the structures, all the parts. First of all, you can see what is this. This is the crown. Okay, and it is covered by enamel. Okay, next this part, next to that, this is the dentine, where you can see these lines can be seen. So what are those lines, we will discuss. Next, see, this part is the cementum. Ye dekho, this part is the cementum. Now in the teeth, this particular part can be seen. Whenever you open your mouth, this part can be seen. So this is the crown part. Okay, now this crown part is covered by this enamel. Okay, now deep to that you can see the dentine is present. Okay, now this is the attached part of the tooth. Okay, so here you can see the alveolar process. Okay, and this is the socket. Now in this socket the tooth is placed. So the attached part of the root, where it is attaching with the socket, alveolar socket, in that particular part it is covered by, you can see, cementum. Okay, very important. Along with that, it is also supplied by a additional type of ligament that is called as periodontal ligament. See, this green color structure which is shown over here, this is periodontal ligament. Okay, here we are getting different types of fibers, mainly collagen fibers are present. Okay, so the collagen fibers will hold the tooth in both the direction. Okay, so like this it is becoming very strong. I am talking about the attachment. And in the center you can see this is the pulp cavity. Okay, and this is the apical foramen through which blood vessels, nerves, they are entering the tooth. Okay, because tooth also needs blood supply, nerve supply. Okay, that's why this is the direction through which all the blood vessels, nerves used to enter. Okay, so we'll start with the enamel. As I said, enamel is the hardest material in the body. Okay, it is almost made up of 96% of the inorganic salt, and in that organic substances are also present. Okay, the enamel which is there, okay, enamel is the hardest material of our body. 96% of the enamel is made up of inorganic salt. ठीक है, inorganic salt में क्या रहता है? Calcium phosphate and calcium carbonate. calcium phosphate and calcium carbonate. These are present in the enamel. Okay, so these are present approximately 96%. Remaining some amount 4% in that you are getting water, and along with that organic substances are also present. Okay, where different proteins are present. Okay, as I said, the enamel hardest material made up of 96% inorganic salts. In that, the inorganic salts are in the form of crystal. Okay, now this is the hydroxyapatite crystal, and it is made up of calcium phosphate and calcium carbonate. Now, if you see the crystal, they are arranged in the form of rod-shaped prism. The crystals which are there, how they are arranged? They are arranged in the form of rod-shaped prisms. Okay? Now, which run from the deep surface of the enamel to the superficial surface. From deep surface to the superficial surface, these rods are present. Okay? Prism-shaped rod. Next, the prisms are separated by interprismatic material. The interprismatic material are having same composition of that of the enamel, but the difference is the orientation of the hydroxyapatite crystal. Okay. Now, this hydroxyapatite crystal which are present, mainly the interprismatic material. Now, this interprismatic material, what it will do? It will hold the rods, okay, of the enamel together. Okay. Now, there are modified, there are more calcified. Now, this particular interprismatic material, they are more calcified as compared to the enamel. Okay, and they are most superficial part. And in the superficial part of the enamel, this particular prismatic crystals are absent. Okay, so most superficial part, the enamel is devoid of prism. Means on the superficial part, okay, the enamel is lacking the prism. That means these prism like rods are absent on the superficial part. Next, in the diagram I have shown you that various lines can be seen in the prism. Those are called as stria of Ritzius or contour lines of Ritzius. Okay. Now, why these lines are seen? Because enamel is deposited in webs by ameloblasts. That means in layers. Ameloblasts are the cells which will lay down the enamel. Now, when the enamel is produced, layer wise it is produced. One layer, iske upar another layer, iske upar another layer. Okay, like this layer wise it is produced. That's why we can see the lines. Okay, so this result in growth lines at right angle to the direction of the enamel rods, and these are called as contour lines or stria of Ritzius. Now, in some teeth, the formation takes place before birth and some formation takes place after birth. Okay, so there is a difference between the formation which takes place before birth and after birth, and that junction is called as neonatal line. So, in some teeth, the enamel formation takes place partly before birth and partly after birth. Okay? Now, one of the incremental line is particularly marked, and the junction which is there, that is called as neonatal line. Next, another type of lines are there which are alternating dark and light lines. Okay, these are called as lines of Skerger. Okay, lines of Skerger, or also called as Hunter-Skerger bands. These are alternating light and dark lines. Now, these are seen in both the tooth. Okay, at dentoenamel junction and before they reach the enamel. Now, why these particular lines of Skerger are present? Why it can be seen? Because of the regular change in the direction of rods. Okay, so the rods, the way they are arranged, there is regular change in the direction, and due to that, this alternate light and dark strips can be seen, and that is called as Hunter-Skerger bands, which is present exclusively in the enamel. Okay, next there are some other features also: enamel tufts, enamel lamellae, and enamel spindles. Okay, now these are the projection entering the enamel from dentoenamel junction. Okay, dentoenamel junction means the deep part of the enamel where dentine is present. Okay, and the enamel start, that is the dentoenamel junction. From there, some projections are there which are entering the enamel. Those are called as enamel tufts. Then enamel lamellae are there. Okay, these are the projection entering from the free surface of the enamel. And enamel spindles, तो जो डेंटिन होता है उसमें ट्यूब्यूल्स होता है, दोज ट्यूब्यूल्स that extend into the enamel, that is called as enamel spindles. Okay, so these are some important features of the enamel. Now microscopically they can be seen but not under H&E stain. For that we need high magnification. Now this is the very important diagram. This diagram you have to draw in your practical notebook. Okay. Now in this diagram you can see which part is the enamel. See, this is the enamel. Now here you can see the lines of Ridgius and you can see lines of Skerger, and see these are the enamel tufts. ये देखो this area. So this is the dento-enamel junction. ठीक है, ये देखो this is the dento-enamel junction, this particular part where we are getting the enamel tufts, and two different types of lines can be seen in the enamel. Okay, this is the lines of Ridgius. Okay, and the alternating light and dark bands which can be seen, these are the lines of Skerger. Okay, next is the dentine. So deep to the enamel you have seen dentine is present. Okay, it forms the wall of the pulp cavity. Now 80% inorganic salt and 20% organic material are present in the dentine, and the hardness of the dentine is similar to the bone. It contains same hydroxyapatite salts which provide hardness to the dentine. Now the dentine is laid down by a special type of cells, and these are called as odontoblast. Okay, previously we have seen it was amyloblast. Now here it is odontoblast. Okay, they are columnar type cell. Now in the dentine, the most important feature is dentineal tubules. Okay, tubules are present which will radiate outward from the pulp cavity to the outer wall of the tooth. Pulp cavity means from inside to outside. The tubules are present in the dentine. Okay? Now these are called as dentineal tubules. Now these tubules are occupied by processes of odontoblast, same like the processes of osteocytes which we have studied in case of the lacuna. Okay. Now fibers of tombs. What are these fibers of tombs? Now these are the protoplasmic process of odontoblast that occupy the dentineal tubules. Okay. So these are called as fibers of tombs that can be seen in the dentine. Next, there are different zones or different areas of the dentine depending on the mineralization. Okay, pre-dentine is there, that is the newly formed dentine. Okay, where odontoblast, newly formed layer of dentine by odontoblast, that is called pre-dentine. Later on, it is to get mineralized. Next, another type of dentine is there, that is called incremental lines of von Ebner. This is a mineralized line that separate the layers of dentine. Okay. Next, granular layer of tomes near the surface of the tooth. The dentine contains small spaces, and these are called this gives granular appearance. Okay, they are also called as interglobular spaces. Next, mental dentine is there. It is the mineralized dentine near the dento-enamel junction. Okay, this is the mineralized. That means mineral are present in this particular pulp. Next is the circumpulpal dentine. It is the major part of the dentine. Means most of the dentine is made up of circumpulpal dentine. Okay. So dentine we have seen deep to the enamel, the area most of the tooth is made up of dentine. Okay. And इसका center में एक pulp cavity रहता है. For your reference, I will show you the diagram. So ये देखो, this is the dentine. ये पूरा part dentine है. Okay. This entire part is dentine. This one. This entire part is made up of dentine. At the center you can see a pulp cavity is there. Okay. Next, what is present in the dentine? As I said, tubules are there. Dentineal tubules, as you can see, dentineal tubules. Now from where to where the dentineal tubules are passing? From the pulp cavity towards the outer part. Okay, the dentineal tubules are passing. तो dentineal tubules के अंदर क्या रहता है? Protoplasmic processes of the odontoblast. Okay, और उसका जो appearance होता है, that is called as fibers of tomes. Okay. Now here you can see this particular part. Okay, this particular part gives granular appearance. Okay, that's why it is called as interglobular space, which is present at the dento-enamel junction. Next, in the dentine various zones are there. Okay, that means various areas are there in the dentine. For example, pre-dentine, granular dentine, mantle dentine, circumpulpal dentine. Okay, these are the various areas depending on the mineralization. Now, just deep to the cementum, you can see there are small spaces in the dentine. Okay, the junction between the cementum and the dentine. In this part, you will not get the enamel because this is the attached part. This is the root. वहाँ पे enamel नहीं रहता है, ठीक है? Now this particular area, okay, of the dentine and the cementum, the junction between these two, small spaces are there, and that gives granular appearance. That's why these are also called as interglobular spaces. Okay. Now lastly is the cementum. The cementum, what it will do, it will cover the dentine in the root of the tooth. So root of the tooth, okay, the attached part of the tooth is covered by cementum. Okay, it is also bone-like material, and it is derived from a special type of cell. These are called as cementoblast. And if you see the shape of the cell, these are cuboidal in nature. Okay. Next, periodontal ligaments are there. Now this periodontal ligament, it will anchor the cementum to the bony alveolar socket. Okay, this periodontal ligament, the fibers of the periodontal ligaments will hold, or you can say it will anchor. Which part will be anchored? Cementum to the bone of the alveolar socket. जो cementum होता है and bone of the alveolar socket, these are hold together by this periodontal ligament. Okay. Next, Sharpes fibers are also there. These are the collagen fibers of periodontal ligament extend to the cementum. Lastly, the pulp cavity. Okay, तो pulp cavity में क्या रहता है? As you can see, it consists of fibroblasts, macrophages, mast cell, collagen fibers, ground substance. Okay, it receives neurovascular bundle through apical foramen of the tooth. Okay, and this pulp cavity is lined by odontoblast. Now here you can see the diagram. In some cases, okay, multiple roots are there, or you can say multiple attachments are there. Now here you can see multiple attachments are there. Okay, there are some tooth where one attachment is there, one root is there. Okay, some other tooths are there where multiple attachments are there. So if multiple attachment, multiple apical foramen will be there. Okay, through which the blood vessel nerves will enter. Now can you see the periodontal ligament? See, these are the periodontal ligament. Okay, and you can see the cementum also. So that is all about the tooth. Next structure is lip, microscopic structure of lip. Before that, you have to know the basic structure of the lip. So first we will discuss the basic structure, and then I will go to the microscopic structure of the lip. Okay. So as you know, the lips are musculofibrous fold which surrounds the oral opening. Okay. Two lips are there, upper lip and lower lip. Both the lips join laterally at the angle of the mouth. ये देखो, this is the angle of the mouth. ठीक है? The upper lip, lower lip, they will join together over here. This is the angle of the mouth. Okay. Now the lip which is there, if you see the lip carefully, externally it is lined by skin. Externally it is lined by skin. Internally it is lined by mucous membrane. ठीक है? Externally skin रहता है, internally mucous membrane रहता है. दोनों के बीच में एक junction रहता है, that is called mucocutaneous junction. That is called mucocutaneous junction. Okay, or also called as Vermilion border. Called as Vermilion border. Now the mucocutaneous junction lies the edge of the lip. Now only a part of mucosal surface is normally seen. तो जो रेड कलर का एरिया होता है लिप्स का, जो रेड कलर का एरिया होता है, okay, that is the mucosal surface. Okay, also called as Vermilion zone. Small part is seen, most of the part is hidden, or you can say most of the part is situated inside, which cannot be seen normally. If you retract it, then only you can be seen rest of the part. Now why this particular area is red in nature? Whenever you will see yourself in the mirror, जो lips होता है ना, ये वाला part, this is red in color. Why it is red in color? Because due to the rich vascular bed. तो mucosa के नीचे rich vascular bed is present. Due to that, it appears red in color. Okay. Now the skin and the vermilion zone meet at vermilion border, or also called as mucocutaneous junction. Now, if you see the structure of the lip, it is having following layers. First of all, externally we are getting the skin, then superficial fascia, then the substance of the lip is made up of a muscle, which is a skeletal muscle, that is called as orbicularis, oris. Submucosa, where the mucosal glands, labial glands are present. Submucosa is present where labial glands along with that blood vessels are present, and lastly the mucous membrane. This is the structure of lip. Now this is the diagram showing the anatomy of the lip. What you can see over here. So as I said, the lips are the flap where musculofibrous tissue are present. Okay. Two lips are there, as you can see, upper lip and lower lip. Now both the lips, they join together, okay, at the angle of the mouth. This is the angle of the mouth. Okay. Next, in this particular part of the lip, now this is upper lip, this is lower lip. Okay. Now one part of the lip is covered by skin, another part of the lip is covered by mucous membrane. Okay. Now the part which is covered by mucous membrane, you can see the color is red in nature, or in some cases it is pink in nature. Okay. Now the junction between the skin and the mucous membrane, okay, or the mucosal covering, that is called as mucocutaneous junction, or also called as vermilion border. Okay. Now this is the vermilion border over here. ये देखो, this is the vermilion border. इसके ऊपर वाला जो part है, here you will be getting normal skin. Okay, so hair follicle, sebaceous, sweat gland, everything is present. But in this particular area, what you will be getting? You will be getting the mucous membrane, and deep to the mucous membrane, vascular bed is present where blood vessels are there. Okay, and the substance of the lip, or you can say the thickness of the lip, mainly it is formed by muscle, skeletal muscle, orbicularis, oris. Okay. Now you know that lips, they bound the oral fissure. Okay, laterally they meet on the angle of the mouth. Now both the lip, upper lip as well as lower lip, it is attached to the gingiva or gum, okay, by a fold of mucous membrane. Okay, that is called as frenulum of the lip. Now, you can do one thing, just hold the lip like this and retract it. You can see a fold of mucous membrane is attaching the lip with the gum. दोनों में है, ऊपर में भी है, नीचे में भी है. That is called as frenulum of the lip. Okay, that is called as frenulum of the lip. Next, can you see the philtrum over here? ये देखो, this particular part is called philtrum. Okay, especially in case of girls, this particular part can be noticed easily. Okay. Now, what is this philtrum? It is a median vertical groove on the outer surface of the upper lip. Median vertical groove. Okay, so it is present, median means in the midline. It is a vertical groove above the upper lip, that is called philtrum. Now just above the middle of the upper lip or the center of the upper lip, you can see a V-shaped sulcus, that is called as Cupid's bow. Now ये जो philtrum होता है, ये कैसे फॉर्म होता है? You can see the column and you can see the depression. Now this particular part is called philtrum and philtral ridges. Okay, ये देखो, these are the philtral ridges and this is the philtrum. Now it is a medium vertical groove, as I said, which are present on the outer surface of the upper lip. Now the philtral ridges are formed by unique collection of the dermal collagen and dense elastic tissue. The unique collection of collagen fibers, the philtrum, how it is formed? Unique collection of collagen fibers and elastic tissue. Okay, in this particular area it is deposited and it is forming the philtrum. Okay, so I have shown you the philtrum and philtral ridges. As I said, philtral ridges are formed by unique collection of dermal collagen fiber and elastic tissue. Next, here you can see the frenulum of the lip. See, this is the labial frenulum. The frenulum is present in upper lip also, it is present in the lower lip also. Okay, which attaches both the lips to the gum or the gingiva. Okay. Next, so that is the overall structure. Now the microscopic structure. So the microscopic structure of the lip, first of all, it is a fleshy fold, which on external surface it is lined by skin, and on the internal surface it is lined by mucous membrane. Okay. Now the substance of the lip, both upper lip and lower lip, it is made up of what? A skeletal muscle that is called orbicularis oris. Now the upper and lower lip close along the red margin, which represent the mucocutaneous junction, okay, and also called as Vermilion border. Now in the mucocutaneous junction, what are the changes taking place? From skin we are getting the mucous membrane, okay, but there will be difference in the lining epithelium also, okay. Now what is the difference in the lining epithelium? The mucous membrane is lined by stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium, okay, and in case of skin it is lined by stratified squamous keratinized epithelium. This is the difference, nothing else. And though it is lined by skin external surface, so here we will be getting the hair follicle, sebaceous gland, okay, which will be associated with that. Now this particular part will help us to identify the slide, which part is skin and which part is mucous membrane. Now epithelium is thicker, okay, than any other part of the skin. Next, the epithelium has well marked finger like projection, and that is called as rete-ridge system, okay. Now that extend into the underlying connective tissue, and that will anchor the epithelium to the underlying connective tissue. This is the rete-ridge system, okay. Because whenever you are using anything, whenever you are eating something, whenever you are putting something into the mouth, or whenever you are washing your face, at that time friction is taking place, ठीक है. तो ये जो mucosal part है, from that particular part there may be detachment or the separation of the lining epithelium. In order to protect that, this rete-ridge system is given. Next, beneath the epithelium of the mucosa, the connective tissue is present, where deep layer of loose connective tissue is also there, okay. Now in that, so two things are there which you have to notice. Beneath the epithelium, the mucosa has a layer of connective tissue, okay, now corresponding to the dermis, and a deep layer of loose connective tissue. Now where the loose connective tissue is present, in that we are getting the mucous gland and serous gland. Now these glands are present, but these are not associated with the hair follicles, and these glands are important. Why? Because these glands will prevent the dryness and cracking of the exposed part of the mucosa. Now I will give you an example. Let's go back to the diagram. Yeah, तो ये जो particular part है and ये particular part, so this part is covered by skin, ठीक है. Once it is covered by skin, hair follicles are there, and hair follicles are associated with the sweat gland, sebaceous gland, ठीक है. Now ये जो particular area है, okay, here also we are getting loose connective tissue. Deep to that, here also sebaceous gland and sweat glands are present, but hair follicles are absent. Now the question is, if hair follicles are absent, then why this sebaceous and sweat glands are present? Because this particular area, okay, the glands which are present deep to that, it will prevent the cracking of this particular area, okay. That's why these glands are present. Next, this is the diagram. Now in the diagram, the most important thing which you have to do is you have to identify which part is lined by skin and which part is lined by mucous membrane. How you will identify? Yes, very good. So this part is lined by what? No. Which this part is lined by what? Mucous membrane or skin? Yes, this part is lined by mucous membrane. This part is lined by skin. ठीक है. सबसे easy क्या है? First of all, you will see the hair follicle. ये देखो, this is a hair follicle. ठीक है. तो हेयर फॉलिकल कहाँ पे रहता है? स्किन में रहता है. जो म्यूकस मेम्ब्रेन है वहाँ पे हेयर फॉलिकल नहीं रहेगा. ओके, सो सी इन दिस साइड हेयर फॉलिकल इज एब्सेंट. Like this, easily you can identify. Next, what you have to see, both the side stratified squamous epithelium is present. This side it is non-keratinized, this side it is keratinized because skin is present. ठीक है. Next, I have mentioned that rete-ridge system is there. ये देखो, this is the rete-ridge system. This side it is not present. Okay. Now deep to deep to this lining epithelium, you can see the connective tissue layer which is present. Okay, here blood vessels are there. On both the side, you can see the glands are present, sebaceous glands, serous glands are present both the side. Okay, and the main substance of the lip, you can see it is made up of muscle, orbicularis, oris muscle. Okay. Another diagram is there. Okay, so you can draw any one, you can draw this one or you can draw the previous one, this one or this one, anyone, whatever you want. Okay. Now in this diagram, can anyone tell me which is the oral side of skin and which side is mucosa, mucous membrane? Yes, this side is mucous membrane, this side is skin. Okay, why? Can you see the hair follicle? हाँ, पहले वही देखना है, हेयर फॉलिकल वो अच्छे से दिखाई देता है. हेयर फॉलिकल जहाँ पे रहेगा इसका मतलब है स्किन है, ऑपोजिट साइड में हेयर फॉलिकल नहीं रहेगा. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट यू कैन सी द म्यूकोक्यूटेनियस जंक्शन ऑल्सो. वेट, लेट मी शो यू द म्यूकोक्यूटेनियस जंक्शन. सी, दिस इज द म्यूकोक्यूटेनियस जंक्शन. ओके, तो म्यूकोक्यूटेनियस जंक्शन माइक्रोस्कोपिक स्ट्रक्चर में इतना अच्छे से दिखाई नहीं देता है. ओके, बट directly you can see the mucocutaneous junction. This is means not a microscopic feature. So that is all about the lip. Next structure is the tongue. Okay, now before going to, though you have not studied anything about the tongue, okay, so I'll show you some important parts or important points related to the tongue so that you will be having an idea, and then we'll go to the microscopic structure of the tongue. Okay, now please keep that in mind. Tongue is a very important topic. You can expect questions from tongue, especially in case of gross and in case of embryo. In embryology, development of tongue is asked frequently. Okay, so don't worry, you will be studying about the development of tongue also. So when you will study the development of tongue, please keep that in mind that you have to study it properly along with the congenital anomaly of the tongue. Very important. Okay, so same like the lip, first we will see some gross features of the tongue and then I will go to the microscopic structure. Now the tongue is a muscular organ, so it is also made up of muscle. Okay, tongue, skeletal muscle only. Can anyone tell me how many muscles are there in the tongue? Any idea? Can you guess? Multiple muscles are there. देखो जो टंग है उसका जो मूवमेंट्स है, उसका जो फंक्शंस है, ठीक है, बेस्ड ऑन दैट टू डिफरेंट ग्रुप्स ऑफ मसल्स आर प्रेजेंट. Okay, one is intrinsic muscle, another one is extrinsic muscles. Okay, 4 intrinsic muscles and 4 extrinsic muscles are present in the tongue. Extrinsic muscle means बाहर से आता है, टंग में जाके अटैच होता है. Those are called extrinsic muscle. Intrinsic muscle means they are present only in the tongue. Okay, so like this we are getting 8 muscles in the tongue. So there is a list. When the gross lecture will be taken, at that time all those things will be discussed. Okay, not now. So it is a muscular organ situated in the floor of the mouth. It is associated with very important function of taste, speech, chewing, deglutition and cleansing of the mouth. What is deglutition? Swallowing. Deglutition का मतलब है swallowing. ठीक है? So these are some important functions of the tongue which you are doing every day. Next, if you see the tongue, there are various parts. What are those parts? First of all, a root is there, which is the attached part. A tip is there. This is the tip of the tongue. Okay, after opening the mouth, whatever you see, that is the tip portion of the tongue. In between the root and the tip of the tongue, okay, the dorsum of body of the tongue is situated. Okay, root is the attached part which you can't see by after opening the mouth. Okay, that is the attached part posteriorly. Tip, this one after opening the mouth, which you can see, that is the tip of the tongue. In between both, the body of the tongue is situated. Okay. Now the question is, what is present in the body of the tongue? Now body of the tongue is having 2 surfaces. ये जो body of the tongue है, इसका 2 surface है. First of all, the curved upper surface, also called as the dorsum of the tongue, and inferior surface, which is confined to the oral part only. इसका मतलब क्या है? When you will open your mouth, okay, stand in front of a mirror, this part, whatever you see, that is the dorsum of the tongue. ठीक है? And next, if you elevate the tongue like this, then this is the inferior surface of the tongue. Okay? Now, can anyone tell me which is the dorsum of the tongue and which is the inferior surface of the tongue? Yes. So this is the dorsum of the tongue and this is the inferior surface of the tongue. Okay. Now here so many things are mentioned over here. For example, if you see the dorsum of the tongue, first of all, it is divided into three portions. This is the anterior 2/3 of the tongue. This is the posterior 1/3 of the tongue, and then posterior most part of the tongue. Now the division is marked by a V-shaped sulcus, that is called as sulcus terminalis. Now this V-shaped sulcus, both the limbs, they meet. Now where they meet, there is a median pit or depression, that is called as foramen cecum. During intrauterine life, a duct is passing through this particular part. That's why foramen is present. But after birth, that duct regresses, okay, disappears. It don't have any function. That's why a small depression is there. That is called as foramen cecum. Okay. Now this will divide the tongue mainly into two parts. The anterior 2/3, larger portion, posterior 1/3. And beyond that, we are getting the posterior 1/3 of the tongue. Okay. Now here, this is the inferior surface of the tongue. Now the inferior surface of the tongue is smooth, but the anterior 2/3 of the tongue and posterior 1/3 of the tongue is not smooth. It is rough in nature. Now the question is, why it is rough in nature? Huh? No, not because of taste buds. Okay, not because of taste buds. Two reasons are there. This part is also rough. This part is also rough. Okay. Now here you can see different types of processes are there. Okay. Now those are called as papillae. Because of the presence of the papillae in the anterior 2/3 of the tongue, this is rough in nature. And on the walls of the papillae, these taste buds are present. Okay. And the posterior 1/3 of the tongue, why it is rough in nature? Because of the aggregation of lymphatic follicles, which is forming the lingual tonsil. Along with that, the glands are also associated with that. Okay. Mucous glands are also associated with that. Now, I'll give you an example. Whenever you are eating ice cream, okay, you don't chew the ice cream, you lick the ice cream. Okay. Because the surface of the tongue is rough, that's why you are able to lick the ice cream. ठीक है, उल्टा ऐसे करके हम लोग lick करते हैं क्या? No, we don't lick like this. We used to lick like this. Whenever you are eating ice cream, I hope you have observed. Why you are able to lick? Because ये जो particular part है tongue का dorsum, this is rough. Rough क्यों होता है? Because of the presence of the papillae. Okay. So from now onwards, whenever you think about the dorsum of the tongue, think about the ice cream. So whatever I have discussed, all those things are mentioned over here. This is the gross part. That's why I mentioned I am not going in detail about this. Okay, those will be taken during the time of lecture. Next, in the inferior surface of the tongue. Okay, in the inferior surface of the tongue, as I said, it is covered by smooth mucous membrane. And along with that, median mucosal fold is there, that is called frenulum linguae or frenulum of the tongue. Okay, wait. See, this is the inferior of the tongue. This is the inferior of the tongue. So when you will elevate the tongue like this, okay, in front of the mirror, you can see a median fold is there, attaching the tongue to the floor of the oral cavity, which stabilizes the tongue. Okay, now that is the frenulum of the tongue. Now on the either side of the frenulum, okay, you can see deep lingual veins are present. ये frenulum है, दोनों साइड में, frenulum का दोनों साइड में deep lingual veins are present. Okay, that can also be seen. So this particular area you can see a dark color area will be seen on both the side. And if you go more laterally, you will see another mucosal membrane, mucosal coating, and that is called as plica fimbriata. Okay, another fold of mucous membrane, that is called plica fimbriata. Now, so this is the most important part here. This thing you have to mention, you have to write in the practical notebook. So the mucous membrane consists of a layer of connective tissue, okay, lined by epithelium. Now what is the lining epithelium? Stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Okay. Now on the oral part, okay, that means the dorsum, it is thin, forms the papillae, and that is adherent to the muscles of the tongue. Okay, the papillae is also formed by the mucous membrane. Okay. Now the pharyngeal part of the dorsum of the tongue is very rich in lymphoid follicles. Okay, and on the inferior surface it is thin and it is smooth where the papillae are absent. Next, numerous mucous glands and serous glands are present, okay, in the connective tissue deep to the epithelium of the tongue, and those are also called as von Ebner's gland. Now the mucous glands are most numerous in the pharyngeal part. Okay, as I said, two types of glands are there, mucous gland and serous gland. Mucous gland mainly कहाँ पे रहता है? Posterior 1/3 of the tongue, where the lymphoid follicles are moved. Okay. Next, the serous glands are present mainly in relation with the circumvallate papillae. This is a type of papilla, okay, where those taste buds are present. That's why this particular types of glands, serous glands, are present over here. Okay. Next, as I said, the dorsum of the tongue, it is rough. Why it is rough? Because of the presence of projections of the mucous membrane, and these are called as papillae. Now different types of papillae are present in the tongue. Okay, structure same रहता है, the difference is in the shape and size. Okay, so the projections of the mucous membrane gives anterior 2/3 of the tongue is characteristics roughness. These are of following 4 types. Okay, 4 types of papillae are there. Now each papillae consists of lining epithelium and core of connective tissue. जो mucous membrane है उसका projection रहता है, ठीक है. तो ये जो projection है, first of all it will be covered by lining epithelium, and the central core will be made up of connective tissue. This is how the papillae are formed. Okay, 4 different types of papillae are there, ठीक है. Because of the presence of the papillae, the surface is rough in nature. Next, there are some papillae which consist taste bud. Because of the taste bud, whenever we are eating something, we feel the taste. Okay. Now the largest papillae which are present in the tongue, these are called as circumvallate papillae. Circumvallate papillae. Have you studied this in physiology? Physiology? I hope you have studied. Okay, so see, they are large in size, 1 to 2 millimeter in diameter, and approximately 8 to 12 in number. Where exactly they are situated? Immediately in front of the sulcus terminalis. If you see the shape, it is cylindrical projection surrounded by circular sulcus. Okay, so the projection is cylindrical and circular sulcus is there. So in between one papillae, another papillae, a sulcus is there. Okay, and on those sulcus, the wall which is present of the papillae, in those wall the taste buds are present. Next, you can see fungiform papillae are there. Now these are numerous at the tip and the margins of the tongue. Okay. Now they are smaller as compared to the circumvallate papillae. Each papillae consists of a narrow pedicle and a rounded head. So here you can see the shape is rounded. Here the shape is cylindrical. Next, filiform papillae is there. Foliate papillae is there. Okay. So same projections are there, but the shape is different. Here in case of filiform, you can see conical shape. In case of foliate, this is leaf shaped. Okay. For your reference, the diagram is present over here. Now, if you concentrate in the diagram, okay, as I said, so this is one papilla, this is one papilla, this is one papilla. Can you see the shape? Shape and size, it is not same, it is different. Okay. Largest one is the circumvallate one. Shape is cylindrical shaped. Okay. Now, if you consider this papillae, circumvallate papillae, first of all, the central core is made up of connective tissue. Central core is made up of connective tissue, and it is surrounded by lining epithelium. Okay. So suppose this is one circumvallate papillae, this is another circumvallate papillae. In between these two, I hope you can see a sulcus is there. Okay. Now on the wall of the circumvallate papillae, which is adjacent to the sulcus, okay, in that we are getting the taste buds. Okay, see, we are getting the taste buds. Now here we will be discussing how the taste bud functions, what is the structure of the taste bud. Now the taste buds which are present in the tongue, okay, especially in related to the circumvallate and fungiform papillae. These are the two papillae where you will be getting the taste bud. Filiform papillae mein most of the time taste buds are absent, okay. Now let me tell you one thing. I hope you have observed that suppose whenever a person is vomiting, ठीक है, vomiting हुआ है, vomiting होने के बाद क्या करते हैं, what generally we used to do after vomiting? No, we'll give water, okay, so that person will either swallow the water or drink the water or will rinse the mouth, okay, wash his or her mouth, ठीक है, that is called rinsing of the mouth. So once you rinse the mouth, what will happen? Whatever vomitus is present in your oral cavity, it is thrown away, ठीक है. When you vomit, you feel the taste of the vomitus, ठीक है. Agree. Next, when you clean the mouth, there is nothing inside the oral cavity, but still you can feel the taste. I hope you have observed that. Q, why? Any idea? No. In papilla, those papillae which are there taste bud, whenever you are vomiting, when it is coming into the oral cavity, that time you can feel the taste. Once you wash your mouth, okay, properly, you can't feel the taste from the papilla which is present in the tongue, but still you can feel the taste. Why? Because some amount of taste buds are present in the soft palate, some are present in the epiglottis, some present in the palatoglossal arches and on the posterior wall of the oropharynx. These are the areas where taste buds, small amount of taste buds are present. So whenever you are washing your face or whenever you are rinsing your mouth, at that time you are not rinsing those areas. In those areas the vomit particles are present. That's why you are getting the taste from those particular areas, okay. Now when you will take the H and E section of tongue, okay, now they are pale staining oral structure extend through the entire thickness of the epithelium. Now you have to understand the structure of the taste bud, okay. So first of all what happens, जो taste bud होता है उसमें एक pore होता है. Let me show you the diagram. Yeah, here you can see the diagram. Now in this diagram you can see this is the structure of a single taste bud. तो taste bud में क्या होता है? First of all you are getting a pore that is called as gustatory pore. This is the gustatory pore, ठीक है. Now gustatory pore will lead to the gustatory cavity, okay. So whenever we are eating something we will chew, okay, continuously we will chew. So gustatory pore is there and then gustatory cavity is there, ठीक है. Now the question is why this cavity is there. So listen carefully. Whenever we are eating something, okay, we used to chew the food. Whenever we are chewing, saliva secretion is there. Saliva will mix with the food. Okay. When the saliva mixes with the food, where it comes through the gustatory pore, it will come into the gustatory cavity. Okay. Once it reaches the gustatory cavity, at that time what will happen? Three different types of cells are there in the gustatory cavity. Okay. First, neuroepithelial cell. Okay. Or also called as the sensory cells, okay. These are the receptor cells or also called as neuroepithelial cells. Now they are having connection with the nerves, okay, mainly facial nerve, glossopharyngeal nerve and vagus nerve. With them they are having connection or you can say synaptic connection. Next we are having the this one basal cells. These are the basal cells which are present at the basal part, okay. Rest two types of cells are there, as I said. Receptor cell already I have discussed, and another sustentacular cell is present. This sustentacular cell. These are also elongated cell from the basal lamina to the pore. They are extending. Okay, so these three different types of cells are present. Once the food material reach in this particular area, okay, they are having microvilli. Okay, so a potential difference is generated in that. Now that potential difference is carried through these nerve fibers, and this will go to the brain for further processing, and then the taste perception or the taste will be felt. That is the mechanism how the taste bud functions. So see the neuroepithelial cell, these are elongated cell extend from the basal epithelium to the taste pore. On the apical part, microvilli are present, which I have shown you just now. Now the basal portion of this cell having afferent sensory process with facial nerve, glossopharyngeal nerve and vagus nerve. Okay, facial nerve, glossopharyngeal nerve, vagus nerve. That you will understand when you will study the nerve supply of tongue. Till or else you will not understand. Next, supporting cells are there. These are also elongated, extend from the basal lamina to the pore. इसका function क्या है? Secrete amorphous dense material. Amorphous dense material will be secreted, and that amorphous dense material will be present in the gustatory cavity. And lastly, the basal or the stem cells are present. If any cells get damaged, this will be replaced by the basal or stem cells. Okay. And how the taste is felt, the mechanism already I have discussed. Next, different areas of the tongue is responsible for getting different types of taste. Okay. So as you can see, bitter, sweet and delicious taste activate the receptor. Sour, salty taste activate the ion channels, which are required in order to generate the action potential. Tip of the tongue will detect the sweet taste. Posterior lateral to the tip detect the salty taste, followed by the sour taste. These are the various areas of the tongue which will taste different types of food. Circumvallate papillae will detect bitter and delicious taste. Okay, these are the different forms of taste which can be felt by the various areas of the tongue. Okay, now there are various points which whatever we have discussed. So this is the gist of the story. The tongue is covered by both surfaces by stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Okay, now the ventral surface of the tongue is smooth. I am talking about the inferior one. Dorsum shows numerous projection. Those are the papillae. Just now we have discussed about the different types of papillae. Now how the papillae are formed? Core is made up of connective tissue and it is covered by lining epithelium. Different types of papillae are there where size and shape are different, and in some of the papillae taste buds are present. Okay. Now the main mass of the tongue, how it is formed? It is formed by the skeletal muscle. So I have told you that in the tongue, 8 types of muscles are there. 4 intrinsic and 4 extrinsic muscles. The muscle fibers run in various directions. Okay. Some are longitudinal and some are transverse in the section. The numerous serous and mucous glands are present among the muscle fibers. Okay. Now here you can see the diagram. Okay. Now in this diagram, first of all, you can see these are the glands. Okay. So this is the circumvallate papillae. Now in the circumvallate papillae, first of all, this is the projection. Okay. Now this is the lining epithelium. Now this is the sulcus. So this is one papilla. This is one papilla. In between both the papilla, the sulcus is present. Okay. जहाँ पे sulcus रहता है, lateral to that on the walls you can see taste buds are present. ठीक है, these are taste buds. These are taste bud. These are taste buds. Okay. And this particular core of connective tissue. Deep to that you can see the glands are present. See, these are the glands present. Okay, I am showing you another diagram where you can see the skeletal muscles. Okay, so this diagram you have to draw in your practical notebook. Okay, now both the surface you can see the lining epithelium, which is same stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. But what is the difference? How you will identify? जैसे मान लो tongue है, हाँ, taken one section. I prepared the slide. When you will take the section, you will be getting the dorsum of the tongue. You will be getting the inferior surface of the tongue. ठीक है, दोनों का lining epithelium same है. तो कैसे पता चलेगा कौन dorsum of the tongue है, कौन inferior surface of the tongue है? हाँ, very good. Dorsum of the tongue में papilla रहेगा, projections रहेगा. That's why it is rough in nature. जो inferior surface है वहाँ पे papilla नहीं रहेगा, it is smooth in nature. तो अभी identify करो. Yes, this is the dorsum of the tongue and this is the inferior surface of the tongue. ठीक है, तो here papillae are present, here it is absent. ठीक है. Next, lining epithelium, connective tissue is there, and this entire part, the substance is made up of skeletal muscles. ठीक है. So along with the skeletal muscles, the glands are also present. Okay, and along with that, blood vessels will also be there. So as you can see, serous and mucous glands are present. Some blood vessels can be seen, and entire mass is made up of skeletal muscle. Okay, so that is all about the tongue.